For thousands of years, a story has captured our imagination like no other. It is the legend of Atlantis, a magnificent island civilization that vanished beneath the waves in a single, terrible day and night. This tale of a lost paradise, a city of incredible wealth and advanced knowledge, has sparked countless debates and launched expeditions all over the globe. Was Atlantis a real place, a forgotten chapter in human history, or is it simply one of the greatest stories ever told? The mystery has fascinated explorers, historians, and dreamers for centuries, making it a true expedition into the unknown. The appeal of Atlantis is easy to understand. It represents a perfect world, a utopia where people lived in harmony and possessed wisdom far beyond our own. The idea that such a place existed and that we might one day find its remains is incredibly exciting. It speaks to our deep desire to believe that there is more to our world than what we can see. The story also serves as a powerful warning. It tells us that even the greatest civilizations can fall, brought down by greed and a hunger for power. This mix of wonder and warning keeps the legend alive in our modern world. Think about it. A whole continent filled with brilliant people and amazing technology suddenly disappearing. It's a puzzle that begs to be solved. Every time someone finds strange underwater ruins or an old mysterious map, the question comes up again. Could this be Atlantis? Governments and private explorers have spent fortunes trying to answer this question. They have sailed the oceans, scanned the seafloor, and dug into ancient texts, all in the hope of uncovering the truth. The search for Atlantis is more than just a hunt for a lost city. It is a quest for a lost piece of ourselves. This journey is about separating fact from fiction, history from myth. We have to look at the original story, explore the most popular theories, and examine the evidence with a critical eye. Does a sunken city lie waiting to be discovered, or does it exist only in the pages of an ancient book? The search for Atlantis takes us from the libraries of ancient Greece to the deepest parts of the ocean, and even to the frozen landscapes of Antarctica. The truth is out there, somewhere, and the adventure is in the chase. That's what makes this one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of all time. If you enjoyed this journey into the legend of Atlantis, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating mysteries. To understand the legend of Atlantis, we have to go back to the beginning. The very first person to write about this lost city was a famous Greek philosopher named Plato. He lived around 360 BC in Athens, a city known for its great thinkers and storytellers. Plato wasn't just some random person, he was one of the most important philosophers in all of history. He wrote many books called dialogues, where he discussed big ideas about government, justice, and the nature of reality. It is in two of these dialogues, named Timaeus and Critias, that the world first heard the incredible tale of Atlantis. Plato didn't claim to have made up the story himself. Instead, he presented it as a true account that had been passed down through generations. According to his writing, the story came from an Egyptian priest who told it to a Greek statesman named Solon. Solon then told the story to his own family, and it was eventually passed down to a man named Critias, who was the one telling the story in Plato's dialogue. This chain of storytellers was meant to make the account sound credible and historical. It was presented as a piece of lost history, a memory of a time long before even ancient Greece. In his writings, Plato used the story of Atlantis for a specific purpose. He was a teacher, and he often used stories to make a point. The tale of Atlantis was part of a larger discussion about what makes an ideal society. He described a great war between the noble, ancient Athenians and the powerful, corrupt Atlanteans. The Athenians, in his story, represented the perfect, just state, while Atlantis represented a society that had become greedy and arrogant. By telling this story, Plato was likely teaching his students a lesson about the dangers of pride and the importance of virtue. So the entire legend that has fueled centuries of searching rests on the words of this one man. Without Plato, we would have no story of Atlantis. No other ancient writer from his time mentions this incredible island. This is a crucial point. Every theory, every map, and every expedition ultimately leads back to Plato's dialogues. This makes our investigation both exciting and complicated. We have to ask ourselves, was Plato recording a real, forgotten history passed down from Egypt, or was he a brilliant storyteller creating a powerful myth to teach a moral lesson? The answer to that question is the key to the entire mystery. Plato didn't just mention Atlantis, he painted a vivid picture of it. According to his account, Atlantis was a massive island, bigger than ancient Libya and Asia Minor combined. It was located in the Atlantic Ocean, just beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which is what the ancient Greeks called the Strait of Gibraltar. This location placed it at the very edge of the known world, a mysterious land out in the great unexplored ocean. The island itself was a marvel of nature and engineering, blessed with incredible natural resources and a perfect climate. It was a true paradise on Earth. The geography of Atlantis was unique and spectacular. The main city was built on a fertile plain, which was surrounded by a series of concentric rings. There were alternating rings of land and water, connected by massive canals that ships could sail through. At the very center was a hill where the royal palace stood. The island was rich in everything its people could ever need. There were lush forests, fertile fields for farming, and abundant fresh water from rivers and springs. The land was also full of precious metals, including a mysterious one called orichalcum, which Plato said was second only to gold in value. The people of Atlantis, the Atlanteans, were said to be descended from Poseidon, the Greek god of the sea. Poseidon fell in love with a mortal woman named Plato, and built the city for her on the central hill. They had 5 sets of twin sons, and these 10 sons became the first kings of Atlantis. For many generations, the Atlanteans were noble and wise rulers. They were a sophisticated society, with advanced technology, a powerful military, and a deep respect for the law. They lived peaceful and prosperous lives, governing their magnificent kingdom with fairness and wisdom. The city itself was a wonder to behold. The walls surrounding the rings were coated in different metals, the outer wall in bronze, the middle in tin, and the inner wall of the citadel in the fiery red glow of orichalcum. There were grand temples, public baths, and a huge harbor filled with ships from all over the world. The people had created an incredible civilization, a testament to their intelligence and power. Plato's description gives us a blueprint for a perfect city, a place of immense beauty and incredible organization. It's this detailed picture that makes so many people believe it had to be real. For many generations, the people of Atlantis lived as a model society. They were virtuous, wise, and respected the gods. But according to Plato's story, this golden age did not last forever. Over time, the divine nature of the Atlantean kings and their people began to weaken. Human greed and ambition started to take over. They were no longer content with their paradise island. They forgot the laws of their ancestors and began to crave more power and more wealth. Their noble character was slowly replaced by arrogance, corruption, and a lust for conquest. This change in character led Atlantis down a dark path. The once peaceful nation became a mighty military empire. They built a massive army and navy, and began to expand their influence. They set out from their island and conquered other lands, enslaving their people. Plato tells us that the Atlantean Empire stretched across parts of North Africa and Europe. They became a tyrannical power, seeking to dominate the entire known world. Their hubris or excessive pride knew no bounds. They believed they were invincible and had the right to rule over everyone else. Their quest for domination eventually brought them into conflict with the ancient Athenians. In Plato's tale, Athens was a small but virtuous state, representing the ideal society that he admired. The Athenians, despite being outnumbered, bravely stood up to the mighty Atlantean war machine. They fought to defend their freedom and the freedom of other nations against the aggressive invaders. According to the story, the Athenians were successful. They defeated the powerful Atlantean army, stopping their conquest and proving that courage and justice could triumph over brute force and greed. The gods, who had once favored the Atlanteans, were deeply angered by their arrogance and corruption. Zeus, the king of the gods, saw how this once noble race had fallen and decided they must be punished. He gathered the other gods to decide on a fitting punishment that would teach them a lesson. What followed was a cataclysm of unimaginable proportions. Plato writes that there were violent earthquakes and floods. In a single terrible day and night of misfortune, the island of Atlantis was swallowed by the sea and disappeared forever. The great civilization was wiped from the face of the earth, leaving behind only a story. When you're searching for a lost island, the first place to look is in the ocean. Plato was actually very specific about the location of Atlantis. He said it was beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. So this points directly to the vast Atlantic Ocean. For centuries this has been the primary search area for explorers. The theory is that a large landmass, a continent-sized island, once existed in the middle of the Atlantic and sank beneath the waves. Some people believe that the islands we see today, like the Azores or the Canary Islands, could be the mountaintops of the sunken land of Atlantis. This theory definitely has a lot of romantic appeal. I mean, the idea of a lost continent hidden under the world's second-largest ocean is a powerful one. Explorers have used sonar to map the ocean floor, hoping to find the telltale signs of a sunken city. They search for straight lines, right angles, or anything that looks man-made on the seafloor. Over the years there have been many claims of discovery. People have reported finding strange walls, roads, and structures deep beneath the Atlantic. However, most scientists believe these formations are natural rock features, created by volcanic activity and geological processes, not the ruins of a lost civilization. A more sensational version of this theory places Atlantis inside the infamous Bermuda Triangle. This mysterious stretch of ocean, located between Bermuda, Florida, and Puerto Rico, is famous for the unexplained disappearance of ships and planes. Proponents of this idea suggest that the same strange forces that cause these disappearances might be connected to ancient Atlantean technology. They believe the city of Atlantis sank right in this area, and its powerful energy crystals, or whatever technology it used, are still active on the seafloor, causing magnetic anomalies and other strange phenomena. It's a wild idea, but it connects two of the world's greatest mysteries. Some divers and explorers in this region have claimed to find evidence. The most famous example is the Bimini Road, a series of large, flat, limestone blocks arranged in a line off the coast of the island of Bimini. Some insist it is a remnant of an ancient Atlantean road or wall. However, geologists have studied the formation extensively and have concluded that it is a natural feature called beach rock, formed by coastal erosion. Similarly, claims of finding giant submerged pyramids in the Bermuda Triangle have been reported, but they lack solid scientific proof. As of today, the Atlantic and the Bermuda Triangle have not given up any definitive proof of Atlantis. When traditional search areas don't provide answers, sometimes you have to think outside the box. One of the more recent and creative theories about Atlantis suggests we should be looking in the coldest place on Earth, Antarctica. This idea might sound strange at first, but it is based on a geological theory called crustal displacement. The theory, made popular by author Charles Hapgood, suggests that the Earth's entire outer crust can sometimes shift in one piece, moving continents to different parts of the globe very quickly. It's a controversial idea, not accepted by most mainstream scientists. According to this theory, about 12,000 years ago, the continent we now know as Antarctica was not at the South Pole. It was located in a more temperate, warmer climate. This landmass, the theory goes, was the true location of Atlantis. It was a green and fertile continent, home to the advanced civilization that Plato described. Then, a catastrophic crustal shift occurred, moving the entire continent to its current position at the bottom of the world. The great city of Atlantis and all its wonders were buried under miles of ice, frozen in time and hidden from history. This theory gained some attention because it seems to solve a few puzzles. It explains why we haven't found any ruins in the Atlantic Ocean. It also aligns with the timing of the end of the last ice age, around the same time Plato said Atlantis was destroyed. Some supporters point to ancient maps, like the Piri Reis map from the 1500s, which they claim shows the coast of Antarctica without any ice. They argue this is proof that someone, perhaps from an advanced ancient civilization like Atlantis, had mapped the continent before it was covered in ice. However, this theory has major problems. Most geologists firmly reject the idea of rapid crustal displacement, saying there is no evidence for such a dramatic event. Furthermore, mainstream historians and cartographers argue that the Piri Reis map does not accurately show Antarctica. They believe it is a rough depiction of the South American coastline. While explorers like Admiral Richard Byrd reported flying over vast, unknown lands during his expeditions to the pole, these were likely just parts of the Antarctic continent not yet mapped. For now, the idea of a lost city under the ice remains a fascinating but unproven speculation. While many searches for Atlantis have focused on faraway, exotic locations, some of the most compelling theories place it much closer to where the story began. A leading idea among many archaeologists and historians is that the legend of Atlantis was not about a lost continent in the Atlantic, but was instead a memory of a real civilization that collapsed in the Mediterranean Sea. This theory suggests that Plato's story was based on the sudden and violent destruction of the Minoan civilization, which flourished on the island of Crete and the nearby island of Thera, now called Santorini. The Minoans were a powerful and advanced Bronze Age culture. Around 1600 BC, a massive volcanic eruption occurred on the island of Thera. This was one of the largest volcanic events in human history. The eruption blew the center of the island apart, creating the giant caldera or volcanic crater that we see today. It also triggered enormous tsunamis that would have devastated the coastal cities of the Minoan civilization on nearby Crete. The ash cloud from the volcano would have blocked out the sun, leading to crop failures and further chaos. This real-life cataclysm has many striking similarities to Plato's description of the end of Atlantis. There are many parallels between the Minoan civilization and Plato's Atlantis. The Minoans were a great sea power, with advanced art, architecture, and a complex society. Excavations at sites like Knossos on Crete have revealed grand palaces with sophisticated plumbing and beautiful frescoes. The island of Thera, before the eruption, was a circular island, which some have connected to Plato's description of the concentric rings of Atlantis. It's possible that the story of this real-life disaster was passed down for over 1,000 years, becoming exaggerated and transformed into the legend that Plato eventually recorded. Another Mediterranean theory points to a different location. Recently, researchers have found evidence of submerged human settlements deep underwater off the coast of Cyprus. These discoveries have led some to speculate that Cyprus could be a surviving part of a larger landmass that sank in the eastern Mediterranean. Another idea points to southern Spain near the Strait of Gibraltar. Satellite images have revealed strange circular features in the marshlands there, which some researchers, like those in a British-American mission, claim match Plato's description of the City of Atlantis. These theories bring the search out of the realm of pure myth and into the world of testable archaeology. Amid all the exciting theories about sunken continents and lost civilizations, there is one very simple and powerful explanation that we cannot ignore. This is the idea that Plato, the man who gave us the story, made the whole thing up. Many historians and scholars believe that Atlantis was not a real place at all. Instead, they argue it was a fictional invention, a story created by Plato to serve a philosophical purpose. He was a teacher, and like many great teachers, he used parables and allegories to make his ideas easier to understand. Plato was writing about the concept of a perfect society. In his famous book, The Republic, he described his vision of an ideal state. The story of Atlantis, told in his later dialogues, seems to be a continuation of this theme. He presents two societies, ancient Athens and Atlantis. Ancient Athens is portrayed as the perfect, just, and brave society, the embodiment of all the virtues Plato admired. Atlantis, on the other hand, is its opposite. It starts out as a perfect society, but becomes corrupt, greedy, and arrogant. It is a cautionary tale, a story designed to warn people about the dangers of power and hubris. One of the strongest pieces of evidence for this theory is that no other ancient writer besides Plato ever mentions Atlantis. You would think that a civilization as large and powerful as Atlantis, one that supposedly conquered parts of Europe and Africa, would be mentioned in other historical records. The Egyptians, who Plato claimed were the source of the story, have no records of it. Other Greek historians like Herodotus, who wrote extensively about the ancient world, never mention it. The complete silence from every other ancient source is a major red flag for those who believe Atlantis was real. From this perspective, the search for a physical Atlantis is a fool's errand. It's like trying to find the physical location of the Shire from The Lord of the Rings. Plato gave his fictional city a specific location and a detailed history to make his philosophical point more believable and engaging for his audience. He created a powerful myth, a story so compelling that it has been mistaken for history for over 2,000 years. While it might be less romantic than discovering a sunken city, the idea that Atlantis is a brilliant philosophical fable is, for many scholars, the most logical and well-supported explanation. Despite the strong arguments that Atlantis was just a story, the hunt for the lost city has never stopped. Over the centuries, many powerful and influential people have been captivated by the legend. During the Age of Discovery, an old map found in the Ottoman Empire, which Christopher Columbus may have seen, reportedly showed a large island in the Atlantic where none exists today. This fueled speculation that ancient mapmakers knew of a land that later vanished. Even in the 20th century, the obsession continued. It's said that Adolf Hitler tasked Nazi expeditions with finding Atlantis, believing it was the homeland of a superior ancient race. The search for physical proof has led to some intriguing, though often controversial, claims. Besides the Bimini Road and the structures in Spain, there have been other finds. Some explorers claim to have found a 120-kilometer-long wall deep in the Atlantic. Others point to strange hieroglyphs in the Abydos temple in Egypt that look like modern machines such as a helicopter and a submarine. They argue these are proof that survivors from Atlantis brought advanced knowledge to ancient Egypt. Skeptics, however, explain these images as the result of newer carvings being placed over older ones, creating accidental shapes. One of the most enduring mysteries is the rumored connection between Atlantis and the Great Sphinx of Giza. Some researchers believe that a secret chamber, called the Hall of Records, lies hidden beneath the Sphinx. They claim this chamber holds the history and scientific knowledge of the Atlanteans, preserved for a future generation to discover. A researcher named Bill Brown even used ground-penetrating radar and claimed to have found a void beneath the statue's paws, but he was denied permission to excavate. This adds another layer of intrigue and conspiracy to the already deep mystery. So, is Atlantis a real sunken city waiting to be found, or is it a timeless myth? The truth is, we still don't know for sure. Every piece of potential evidence has a counter-explanation, and every theory has its flaws. But that is what makes the legend of Atlantis so powerful. It continues to inspire us to explore our world, to question our history, and to dream of what might be possible. Whether it is a place on a map or a place in our imagination, the search for Atlantis is a journey that pushes the boundaries of our knowledge, and for an explorer, there is no greater adventure than that. If you enjoyed this journey into the mysteries of Atlantis, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating explorations.